They have essentially said that this is the only way, this will be the only way to prove you have legal identity. And so if you don't participate in that system, as far as the state or the private sector is concerned, you don't exist. So by not participating in that system, you're inherently excluded from the economic system and really essentially everything. It's going to be a problem, reaction, solution type of situation where they've already made the solution. They've already developed what they want to be the new financial governance system after this new Bretton Woods moment. They just need some sort of big event on the scale of World War II or some large event that's equally disruptive in order to be like, all right, now it's time for a new financial governance system.
About a year ago, while speaking at the Global Finance Summit in Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron said the world needs a public financial shock to fight global warming. Around the same time, World Economic Forum founder and executive chairman Klaus Schwab also made a similar statement about revamping the global economy. In his words, every country from the United States to China must participate, and every industry from oil and gas to tech must be transformed. We need a great reset of capitalism, Schwab added in an article published on the non-governmental organization's website. According to popular investigative journalist Whitney Webb, what we are witnessing is the birth of a new international monetary system, a replacement for the current Bretton Woods system, built solely on the blockchain to aid the complete surveillance and censorship of every aspect of our lives. Whitney's warnings are based on the words of several global elites and WEF puppets like Macron, as well as the words of Mark Carney, former governor of the Bank of England and Bank of Canada, and the UN Special Envoy for Climate Action and Finance, who said the three pillars of the New World Order are digital IDs, CBDCs, and ESG. In a recent discussion with Mark Goodwin, writer and editor-in-chief at Bitcoin Magazine, Whitney warns that all world governments are pushing this New World Order agenda, proudly sponsored by the ultra-rich and powerful, including Silicon Valley executives like Larry Fink, who wants to tokenize all existing assets and commodities, as well as the natural world. Whitney warns that from forests to rivers, mountains and lakes, everything will soon become a commodity, owned and traded by the super rich and powerful to make them even stronger and move them closer to their goal of completely dominating the rest of us. During the conversation with Goodwin, Whitney discusses two important parts of the New World Order plans: digital IDs and natural world tokenization, warning that Schwab, Fink, and useful puppets like Macron are on the verge of achieving their grand plans, and how disastrous that would be for us all.
In this context, I think the digital ID is a key enabler of the surveillance, knowing what everyone is doing at the transactional level and being able to tweak that micromanagement based on a person's activity, because the digital ID isn't just limited to the financial system, right? It's like your travel, your health history, your career history, your education credentials, your access to telecommunications, social media, the internet. With the new AI era, right, they can fuse all that data, analyze it, and depending on how they develop that AI algorithm, use it to control people really in unprecedented ways. I think the digital ID and the CBDC and its private sector equivalence project is something that we're always sort of intended to be the same system. So there's documents from the UN, from the BIS, and related groups that are sort of that have been working on this for years. That essentially frame one as essential to the other, using words about, this is inclusionary, the whole, marketing behind digital ID is that everyone needs a legal ID because otherwise they're unable to access essential services, right? And so the idea is we all have to be included in the system, and they directly link that to the concept of financial inclusion and banking the unbanked, which you brought up earlier. But inherently these systems actually function in an exclusionary way, based on how they've been set up. They have essentially said that this is the only way, this will be the only way to prove you have legal identity. And so if you don't participate in that system, as far as the state or the private sector is concerned, you don't exist. So by not participating in that system, you're inherently excluded from the economic system and really essentially everything. So you have to onboard to the surveillance state or be excluded from everything. So it's, being marketed as inclusion, but it's really inherently exclusionary.
How does this system get triggered? How do we move into the Mark Carney-ism?
Well, I think they sort of give it away when they say that this is the new Bretton Woods movement that needs to be seized. So Bretton Woods was what came out of World War II, essentially, and was the creation of a new financial governance system after World War II. And this is essentially an effort to create a new financial governance system that was announced well before any sort of crisis like that, but it's probably going to need a crisis of that level to be implemented and to convince people to onboard at scale. And if you subscribe to the theory that all wars are bankers' wars, which there is plenty of evidence to support that, I would say, that seems to suggest that perhaps, this is the it's going to be a problem reaction solution type of situation where they've already made the solution, they've already developed what they want to be the new financial governance system after this new Bretton Woods moment. They just need some sort of big event on the scale of World War II or some large event that's equally disruptive in order to be like, all right, now it's time for a new financial governance system after this big event like they did after World War II.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the thing that's so interesting about this debt bubble exploding is that when you know that the debt bubble is going to explode and you want to explode it into the new system, the way that you sort of trigger that into the system that you want to get the masses to go with you is you actually want to have the most debt obligations on the record, on the board, so that when the system pops, they'll all pop. When the debt bubble pops, every debt bubble will pop. It will be everything all at once. It won't just be like, oh, Japan's fine, the US is it won't work like that. Everything will pop at once. So in this weird way, you actually want to create as much debt as possible right before the pin bursts the bubble, and then you can offer this, hey, we'll service your debt 1-to-1 if you come join this new universal tokenized ledger. Just sign up here, do a selfie of your face and give us your biometrics, and then here you are.
The solution has been created, and now all the global elites need is a nice little crisis to tie it all off. Only this won't be a nice crisis. It will be the complete collapse of the entire global financial system. A large percentage of the global population, honest everyday workers, fathers, mothers, children, and people with aging parents and relatives will be completely devastated, while the 1% of the 1% gain everything. Whitney believes the crisis will be on the same scale as, if not worse, than the economic devastation of the Second World War. After the crisis ends, central and commercial banks will conveniently and proudly present digital currencies, urging people to get on the system to make up for everything they lost during the collapse. However, they will only get a fraction of what was lost. Plus, they will be signing away all their privacy and other rights to the global elites. Imagine a world where you can't buy more meat because all your transactions are strictly monitored, and it's been decided that you've eaten more than your allotted portion of meat during the given period. You go to your local grocery store, pick up the goods, and as the attendant or automated system tries to ring up your order, they get a notification saying you cannot purchase more meat or else the planet dies. This is the future Whitney and Mark are warning us about. What's worse, it does not stop there. Larry Fink and others want to tokenize everything, including the natural world.
In Larry Fink's case in particular, there's a goal, a big ambition there to develop new asset classes that can be used to basically fuel their existing business model and perpetuate it for millennia forward. Mm-hmm. So one of these that I've been writing about for a few years is the whole idea of natural assets, what they call nature's economy. And one of the groups that has been sort of propelling this forward, at least one of the earlier groups, the Intrinsic Exchange Group, which is a product of the Rockefeller Foundation and the multilateral development banking system, has a graphic on their website called The Opportunity, and they show there the existing amount of assets in the world economy, and then show what if we unlock natural assets how nature's economy, it's like 6 times the amount of existing assets in the economy today. One of the things too about the natural asset thing, at least as far as the natural asset corporation model is concerned, is that you literally just go into a forest or you go to a river or lake and you identify the natural asset, and then at no cost to you, just after identifying it, you issue shares in the natural asset, a lake, a forest, whatever, and then you sell those shares to sovereign wealth funds, asset managers, whatever, and then you have an IPO and generate all this money. I mean, it's literally just pointing out something outside and being like, this is mine, I'm going to fractionalize it and sell it to people, and you're producing money in like, out of thin air. Right. Essentially. Yeah. And you're able to do that. I mean, the natural world is vast and huge, and they're doing this, they're financializing it all, as framing it as the only way to save the planet. Right. But really it's the only way for them to save their insane debt racket.
In their joint February article titled Tokenized, BlackRock's plan to own the fractionalized world, Whitney and Mark give a stern warning about BlackRock and Larry Fink's plans. You will allow BlackRock to build the panopticon of tokenized Earth, with Americans' retirement money under the dialectic pretext of owning the liberals, unknowingly connecting all aspects of ownership to centralized databases, walled identity gardens, and fractionalized reserve assets transmitted and issued on the private blockchains of Wall Street banks. The warring factions within the Davos squabble over the spoils, but never against the plan. Fulfilling Agenda 2030 requires complicit cooperation as much as compromised corporations. Do not confuse free market capitalism with cronyism or cartelism, which is the capitalist model embodied by Fink and his fellow Wall Street ilk. The problem is not just what they are planning, it's the half-truths they continuously tell the world until it is too late to stop the disaster, and how they demonize anyone trying to warn people about their plans. They've eaten so deep into our systems and every aspect of society that it would take nothing short of divine intervention to stop their plans. This is why people like Whitney often emphasize the importance of getting out of the system before it's too late, as that's the only way to protect yourself against what's coming. Please share your thoughts on Whitney's warnings and predictions of an impending collapse of the global financial system in the comments section below. Also, ensure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.